Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are taking a trip to Montreal, but we're not looking at croissants or cobblestones.
Wow.
We are diving deep into the foundations of the city's newest infrastructure, the Rousseau Express Metropolitan,
Mm.
or the REM.
And this is so much more than just a new transit system.
It is. Our sources reveal that it is, by design, intended to be a monumental living art installation, really transforming the daily commute.
It's a remarkable undertaking. What's truly unique here is how the project transforms public transit, not just through efficiency, getting people around faster,
Right.
but through a massive dedicated commitment to high-profile public art. It just elevates the whole conversation beyond engineering and budgets.
So our mission today is to unpack this stack of sources we have, articles, interviews, project manifestos, to really understand the philosophy behind it. We need to get at this guiding principle of re-enchanting the city and then explore the incredibly unique visions of 6 Quebec artists.
And these artists are injecting art, history, and nature into the, let's face it, often monotonous lives of commuters.
And that idea of transformation, that's the hook for you, the listener.
It is. These stations aren't just functional. The sources describe them as intentionally becoming places of discovery. The whole thing is choreographed so that when you step off a train, you immediately encounter a space that asks for, well, at least a second look.
Okay, let's unpack that central philosophy right away. Re-enchanting the city. This seems to be the entire foundation for the project.
It is. It's a theme that was popularized by columnist Marie-Hélène Poitras.
So before we get into the specific artworks, we have to understand what exactly they're trying to re-enchant.
Well, if you think about it in the context of, decades of urbanization, it makes perfect sense. Transit infrastructure used to be all about function, pure speed.
Right, concrete tunnels, harsh lighting, that sort of thing.
Exactly. So to re-enchant in this urban context is a direct response to that. It's about rediscovering the poetry and soul in everyday life.
So it's about injecting some imagination back into these spaces that we usually just try to ignore.
Yes. So instead of being just concrete corridors, the REM is literally transforming its stations into art galleries.
The goal being to make the routine of commuting feel like a cultural experience.
Precisely. Which, raises an important question that the sources really grapple with. Is this just a very expensive embellishment?
And the conclusion is no.
The strong conclusion is no. This is a non-negotiable statement about urban quality of life. It's a reaffirmation of art's role in the built environment, making a space feel human and welcoming, not just cold.
But I wonder, if the goal is to break that monotony of concrete, how do you make sure the art itself isn't just overwhelmed by the grit and grime of a busy transit system?
That's a critical point, and longevity is built right into the choice of medium.
Okay.
If we look at the most spectacular example, Manuel Mathieu's installation, the material itself is the answer.
That brings us straight to what the sources are calling the most spectacular work. This is at the deepest underground station, Edouard Montpetit.
Yes.
Tell us about Mathieu's Le Mont Habité.
Le Mont Habité, which means the inhabited mountain, is made of 5 huge, striking mosaics. And what's so fascinating is that it's not just art on a wall. It's a direct dialogue with Montreal's geological history.
And with the massive effort it took to build that specific station, right? It's so deep underground.
Exactly. It's more than just a conceptual link. He didn't just pick a palette that looked like nature.
He drew inspiration from the actual rock that was excavated to build the station, the Gabbro rock.
That's it. The geology is the medium. Mathieu took the material history of the mountain and immortalized it in the finished structure. These are massive, durable mosaics.
How big are we talking?
Some are over 10 feet high. They celebrate the geological heritage of Mount Royal.
So it anchors the modern, fast-paced REM experience in this long sweep of nature's time.
It forces a moment of contemplation, on the depth and solidity of the ground right beneath your feet.
That is powerful. To take a quick daily moment like waiting for a train and ground it in millennia of geological history. It sets a very high bar.
It does. It really defines the entire project's ambition.
So this masterpiece is the conceptual anchor, but the REM covers a lot of ground. There are 5 other artists bringing their own singular visions to the lineup. The challenge must be making sure these other commissions carry that same philosophical weight, even if they're not deep underground.
And that's where the diversity of local Quebec talent really shines. Each artist has translated this re-enchantment idea in a completely different way.
Using different technologies, too, I imagine.
Yeah, often using newer tech that contrasts beautifully with Mathieu's traditional mosaics. Let's start with Valerie Blas, out at the Anselorm station.
Blas's work is described as a giant jewel. That sounds beautiful, but what's the story there?
Her sculpture is vertical, about 20 feet long, and it is jewel-like. But its inspiration is heavy. It's about the devastating 2023 Quebec forest fires.
Wow.
Her work is like an intertwining chain of organic links, sort of like large, stylized, skeletal pieces of nature.
And how did she make it?
She used advanced 3D scanning and printing. Some parts are lacquered black, others are a translucent white.
That's fascinating. So it's a high-tech 3D printed piece designed to evoke the destruction and, I guess, the recovery of a natural landscape.
It's a meditation on resilience, using the most cutting-edge tools to comment on these fundamental natural cycles.
Amazing.
And then you have a totally different kind of high-tech integration with Diane Morin at the Gare Central station.
Okay, this is one of the busiest, highest traffic points in the whole system. How does art even survive there, let alone communicate a message?
Her work is called In Animation, La Forêt qui nous habite. And it's incredibly subtle but mesmerizing. It's an animated installation.
Animated?
Yeah, composed of 20 illuminated aluminum boxes positioned right above the escalators.
So as you're going up or down?
Exactly. It creates this miniature cinematic sequence. You see trees and branches subtly move and shift. It brings the illusion of a living forest canopy indoors.
That sounds like a powerful antidote to the rush of a central station. It forces you to look up, to slow down.
And the nature element here is extremely specific, very rooted in Montreal's history, just like Mathieu's work.
Oh, right. How so?
The source material for the animation was a digitized 100-year-old maple. So you have this mechanical, urban environment merged with the digital ghost of an old tree. It's a brilliant way to merge nature and urbanity.
So we've seen geology, we've seen forest fire resilience, we've seen animated history. Let's touch on the other three artists. What about Michelle Bowie at St. Dorothy?
Michelle Bowie works with a blend of photography and installations. Her concept is all about the harmonious coexistence between nature and urbanity.
So finding beauty in the everyday.
Pretty much. She uses visual elements that highlight the beauty in mundane objects, things you'd find at that intersection between the built world and the natural one. It gives you permission to see beauty in your immediate surroundings.
And Eliane Escoffier-Boisfranc, I see she also blends photography and sculpture.
Escoffier's work plays more with notions of memory and transformation. She uses these innovative techniques to capture specific elements of Montreal's landscapes, both urban and natural. It adds this palpable layer of history.
A sense of what was beneath what is.
Exactly.
Okay, and finally, Patrick Bernatchez at Du Montagne.
Bernatchez is a multidisciplinary artist, so he takes a more abstract, more introspective approach.
How does that work in a train station?
He uses varied materials to explore themes of time and perception. His goal is maybe the most profound in a transit context, just to invite REM users to reflect, to use the commute as a moment for internal thought, not just distraction on their phones.
This is where it all comes together then. We have these 6 very specific, conceptually dense, and materially diverse works. So what does all this dedication to art in infrastructure ultimately mean for the daily life and culture of Montreal? What's the cumulative impact here?
The REM project is making several really strong statements with these installations. First, as we said, it's fundamentally humanizing space.
Right, making these stark environments more welcoming, which has to have a positive psychological impact.
Definitely. Second, it's a powerful financial and cultural commitment.
A commitment to the local arts scene.
Absolutely. It is supporting local creation. It's providing a huge, permanent platform for the creativity of Quebec artists. These are major, highly visible commissions.
And the third point seems to loop right back to where we started, to that central idea of re-enchantment.
Precisely. It is enriching daily life. It transforms a routine moment, the commute, into an opportunity for contemplation by injecting poetry and history and nature into the city's arteries.
The works invite you to pause, look up, and connect.
To connect with the geological past, the changing environment, and the vibrant artistic scene of Montreal all at once.
So we've covered the idea of breaking free from the monotony of concrete. We've admired those 10-foot mosaics made from excavated gabbro rock, and we've looked at the delicate animation of a digitized 100-year-old maple at Gare Central. It's a really compelling case study.
It is. The RM is using art not as an afterthought, not as decoration, but as an essential part of its identity. It's ensuring that this functional infrastructure serves a deeper cultural purpose.
If art in transit is meant to anchor the modern experience in the long sweep of nature's time, as our sources suggest, you have to wonder about the long term. What does the permanence or the engineered durability of these specific materials, the mosaics, the 3D printed sculptures, what does that say about how a constantly reinventing city defines and preserves its newest history, especially when that history is built right into the infrastructure itself? How do we ensure the soul they've injected doesn't fade? That's the challenge for Montreal going forward.